The cafe was alive with the gentle hum of morning chatter, the hiss of steaming milk, and the sweet scent of freshly baked pastries drifting through the air. The floor-to-ceiling windows spilled golden sunlight across polished wooden tables, where people sat sipping their coffees and scrolling on their phones, blissfully unaware of the extraordinary story about to unfold within those very walls. At one corner of the cafe, the glass counter shimmered with rows of muffins, croissants, and pies, inviting customers to indulge in the warmth of homemade comfort. It was there that a tall, sharply dressed man in a navy blue tailored suit walked in, holding the tiny hand of a little girl no older than 6. His presence commanded attention, not only because of his stature or his meticulously groomed appearance, but because of the gentle way he leaned down to match his daughter's pace, his every step adjusted so she wouldn't feel hurried. His name was Ethan Montgomery, a billionaire known in the world of business as one of the toughest and most brilliant entrepreneurs. Headlines often painted him as ruthless, a man who crushed competitors and negotiated deals with a cold, unshakable focus. Yet behind that image was another side of Ethan, a side almost no one knew, the side of a father raising his daughter, Lily, alone. Lily was his heart, his world, his reason for breathing. But Lily was different from most children her age. She had been born deaf. To Ethan, this wasn't a weakness, it was simply a part of who his daughter was. Yet he knew the world could be unkind, and he carried the weight of wanting to protect her from every unspoken cruelty. That morning, as Ethan guided Lily into the cafe, he wore his usual mask of control. But deep inside, he longed for something no money could buy, acceptance for his daughter. Lily's brown eyes sparkled with innocence as she looked around at the array of cakes, her tiny fingers gripping her father's hand tightly. She loved cafes, not because she could hear the chatter, but because she could feel the rhythm of life, the vibrations of laughter, the subtle clinking of cups, the smiles that spoke louder than words. For her, the world was a canvas of expressions, movements, and light. "Which one do you want, sweetheart?" Ethan asked her gently, bending down so she could see his lips clearly as he spoke. He had taken classes to learn sign language for her sake, but his movements were often stiff, awkward, the kind of gestures born from discipline rather than fluidity. He signed clumsily, pointing at the muffins, his brow furrowed in concentration. Lily giggled, her small fingers moving quickly as she responded with the ease of someone who lived in that world naturally. Ethan tried to follow, but as always, he stumbled. He hated that he couldn't keep up with her, hated that despite his billions, his power, his influence, he couldn't fully give her what she needed most, effortless communication. His voice broke into the rhythm of the morning. "Would you like me to help?" Ethan turned sharply, his instincts as a guarded businessman kicking in. Standing behind the counter was a young woman with her hair tied loosely in a bun, wearing a simple apron and a smile that seemed to brighten the entire room. Her name tag read Clara. She looked down at Lily, and without hesitation, she lifted her hands and began signing fluently. Lily's eyes widened, her face lighting up with surprise and joy. She immediately responded, her little hands moving quickly, her smile stretching ear to ear. Ethan froze. His usually unshakable composure wavered as he watched the two of them communicate with a grace and fluency he himself had never mastered. For a moment, he felt invisible, standing on the outside of a world he desperately wanted to enter but never could. His throat tightened, not from jealousy, but from a strange, overwhelming gratitude. Clara knelt down so she could meet Lily at eye level, her hands moving as she asked her what pastry she wanted. Lily clapped her hands in delight, responding eagerly, pointing at a cupcake with colorful sprinkles on top. Clara laughed, a sound that was as gentle as it was sincere. Ethan watched silently, his mind whirling. Here was a stranger, a cafe worker no less, who had just given his daughter something priceless, the gift of connection. "Where did you learn sign language?" Ethan finally asked, his voice lower than usual, betraying the emotions he tried to conceal. Clara glanced up at him, her eyes soft but steady. "My younger brother was deaf. I grew up signing. It became a part of me, even after he passed away." Her voice faltered slightly, but her hands continued to move gently for Lily's sake, never letting the little girl feel excluded. Ethan felt a lump form in his throat. He had faced boardrooms filled with billion-dollar deals and never blinked, yet standing in front of this young woman, he found himself shaken. He wasn't sure what stunned him more, the fact that she could speak Lily's language fluently, or the selfless way she offered it, without hesitation, without pity, just pure connection. Lily tugged on her father's sleeve, signing excitedly that she liked Clara, that she wanted to come here every day. Ethan smiled faintly, though his heart was a storm. For years, he had carried the fear that his daughter would grow up isolated, never truly belonging. Yet here, in the most unexpected of places, a cafe filled with strangers, he had just witnessed the bridge he had prayed for. But Ethan didn't realize that this was only the beginning. The encounter with Clara would change more than just his daughter's world, it would change his own heart, his beliefs, and the very way he saw life. For a man who thought he had everything, he was about to discover the one thing he truly needed.